Welcome back to the Return the Picks podcast, where finally we can start making some picks and seeing if all of that knowledge that we've quite clearly been able to draw in this offseason will be useful for picking games, victories, and basically making some money throughout this season. Welcome to the podcast. Myself, Ollie Wilson, Dave Bluck, and Jazz Gillum finally get to make our first 6 picks of the NFL season, because tonight, in about 3 hours time,
3.5 hours maybe,
it all kicks off with the Texans against the Kansas City Chiefs. And football is actually back.
Yeah, we're gonna get at least
COVID-19 couldn't stop it.
1 week of football,
one game. We'll get at least one game. There's still, Friday, Saturday to get through. But yeah, we will at least, at the moment, as it stands, get one game with about 16,000, 20,000 people watching it in Arrowhead Stadium.
Can you believe it? Like, obviously, since we've been doing this podcast about a year, and we did quite a few during lockdown and stuff. Doesn't it seem so long ago? And then the idea of watching the Super Bowl just seems like another universe. Like for us to be here on the precipice of football is just I'm
actually
so into
excited.
it. I'm so
really
into
excited.
it. Yeah.
It only really hit me after I finished watching today. I was like, oh, I can watch a Game Pass game properly tomorrow and know it's real football that means something.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I almost bought another Eagles jersey today because I was. So
of course you did.
I was like,
didn't buy a Cowboys one while you're there. No, okay, maybe you should.
I'm not that guy. I'd never root for the Cowboys as a franchise.
Let's see how well that one ages.
Anybody listen? No, I'm not rooting for the Cowboys as a franchise. I just believe that certain things might happen that allow other individuals to succeed at some point this year. But that will come on later on in the podcast. We had a lot of chat on the podcast today. What did we do? We did divisional winners. We did AFC and NFC championship games, Super Bowl matchups and victors. We did 6 picks from this week's games. Dave, you threw out, what was it? Defensive player of the year.
MVP, Coach of the Year, and Rookie of the Year.
And we also did a little bit of news and slagged off the Bears and got into an argument about Leonard Fournette, which
of all people who I never thought I'd have strong opinions on, but apparently I do.
Clearly, you've got
Jazz brings this out in me.
Well, we'll leave you with that and get straight into the podcast, which just starts with a nice bit of contract talk, and then it escalates. Yeah, enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm excited, man.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's been a busy day.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I have to say I'm pretty itching for just everything to start.
I just can't believe it. I can't believe we're here. It's like they cancelled Christmas and then they've started it again. I haven't even got any words. That was terrible.
Yeah.
Right, do you want to kick us off, Ollie, with some chat then? We've got so much to talk about. It's insane.
Yeah, it's okay, busy week. You guys said you didn't want to talk about this. I mean, I'm okay just kind of skirting over this bit. In terms of the player contracts, that like a few pretty decent deals kind of ended up getting signed off since we last spoke about NFL actual news and stuff. Clowney going to the Titans. There were a lot of rumors that other teams were trying to get like multi-team trades involved to be able to get him kind of NBA style, and the NFL turned down a couple of those and said you're just not having that. So he ends up in Tennessee getting paid, which is a nice little fit for Clowney and might give him a chance to obviously make a big impact in the playoffs. Kareem Hunt gets a 2-year extension in Cleveland, which takes a bit of the load off Nick Chubb and might kind of save him a bit of wear and tear throughout the year.
Not good for my fantasy, though.
Not ideal for
I don't think it's
fans.
going to change Nick Chubb's stock, to be honest. He's still going to play just as much.
And
He's always going to be splitting anyway with Kareem Hunt, so no
I
difference.
know, but it's just a sign of intent, isn't it, Jazz?
He was making huge runs.
He was baking
last
Mayfields.
Year. He was, well, somebody needs to get that guy cooking, I tell you. DeAndre Hopkins becomes the highest paid non-QB in the league with Arizona. What was it?
Negotiated that himself as well.
Yeah, that was baller.
That is
saved
baller
himself. Saved himself 10% then, or whatever.
Right yeah, that is some big dick.
So saved himself like
20%, maybe
5 million.
5 million, yeah.
$5 million.
Depends what his agent's on. If the agent's on 20%, that's 10 mil.
Yeah, because it's 54 million for the 2 years.
Wow.
Of course, it's not guaranteed though, is it? So it's incentives as well to go with it. But
I mean,
the headline figures are great.
If Hopkins is as
Totally-
good as everybody
totally
thinks
worth
he's going
it,
to be
I
in
think.
Arizona, then there's a good chance he makes most of that money.
I think it's totally worth it, and they've got, even though they're playing Kyler Murray more because he's a first overall pick, he's still on a rookie contract. So it makes complete sense to me. I don't see, it's a no-brainer really. And they brought him in. They knew they were going to give him that money. So it's just
And then
what it is, isn't it?
other side of the ball, going up against Hopkins at some point twice this year. In fact, Jalen Ramsey getting his deal with the LA Rams. Anybody that was watched Hard Knocks could see that he was getting annoyed.
He's going to
with
buy
people
that house
asking him
now.
about it. And now Jalen
House in the
Ramsey's
hills.
got even more money for a mouthy corner. So
Yeah, he deserves it, doesn't he? Though he's worth
He's
it.
great. He's quality. Yeah.
he's a
very good
beast.
He's very good at what he does.
He actually almost, well, the LA Rams in general, like sneaky for that NFC West. Like I'm not high on them, but I've been getting higher and higher on them since we moved to the season. Not because of Hard Knocks, because I haven't really watched and followed Hard Knocks that much this year. But just when you kind of think about, well, they've still got great offensive talent. They've still got McVay. Now they've got Aaron Donald bossing up front. Ramsey, okay, not playing for a contract anymore, but got his money, happy, settled. He is a beast, like second year in that scheme.
It's not just you. There's a lot of people that are getting higher on the Rams. I can make a case for any four of those teams though. So
Maybe all four make the playoffs. Could happen.
Well, except for the fact that you're
that
dealing
would
with
be
the NFC South as well. And there's
Yeah,
only a limited
they'd
number of
probably
playoff
beat
spots.
up on the Falcons. They'd probably. Oh, okay. Yeah, the Bucks and the Saints will probably do it. Maybe, but maybe they don't. Maybe the rest of the NFC West just dominates everyone.
Dave's going to like this. I'm getting happy about the
and they all
Falcons.
finish like 11-5.
I'm getting happy about the Falcons though this year.
until you see them play,
Yeah,
until you see them get smashed.
you'll
by
be
the
out.
Seahawks.
You'll be out on them by week 3. No, I'm. You know that I'm 10-6 with the Falcons, so that's where I'm sticking. That's good enough for the playoffs. So.
So those were the kind of contracts that ended up going off this week, which is good, I guess, for players and teams.
What
going
about your
into the
boy
start of the season.
Watson? You didn't mention Watson getting paid.
He got paid big.
I may have missed
So
that.
worth it.
How much did Deshaun get in the end? I saw
140
earlier in the
for
week
3
he was
years?
going to get a new
Yeah.
deal. 140 for 3 years.
Yeah,
5 years.
Russell
was
Wilson money.
5
No,
years.
it wasn't as much as that.
it? Okay, I thought it was.
Sure.
over 5.
Was that yesterday or
doing-
today?
Be
That was
surprised
like-
if it.
I think it was maybe last week.
Sure, it's over 3 years. I thought it was
Yeah, I'm just
I
going to
thought
check
a lot
it
of these
now.
a lot of these QB deals are
Sean
5
Watson
now.
contract is 4-year extension for 177.5 million.
Oh, there we go.
Wow.
The 111 million guarantees.
I knew I'd left one off my list when I was making that.
So
Yeah, I love-
pretty well for himself there.
Love me some Watson, and it's completely worth it. I mean, he's got everything that you want from a franchise quarterback. So
But everything you don't want from a GM and a leader of a team.
I was going to say he's got everything but weapons, really.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, but him on his own, to build around when Bill
but
O'Brien.
he's not building around him. He's getting
he's
rid of
out
his
the door.
best stuff.
So, guys, we're going to have some heavy defensive pressure up front. We really got to, crushing that secondary and offense. Deshaun?
Deshaun Watson.
it's
And
over to
David
you,
Johnson.
boy.
David Johnson might do so. I think David Johnson will be pretty good this year, if I'm honest.
Everybody's been saying that for a while now. It seems like a long time ago that he was a good player.
Well, it was like, 3 years?
I think it might be 4 years.
4. It was 4.
Yeah, because 3 years ago we were asking
Because he
Dave
missed a year. He missed a year.
Yeah, and then whoever drafted him first that year had him go down the first game with a broken arm, didn't he?
Because we were going to give Dave the first round of the first pick of the fantasy draft if he announced in his wedding speech that he was going to take David Johnson as his first pick in the draft, which he didn't do in the end, which was just couldn't squeeze it in somehow.
Wasn't meant to be. Didn't need him.
Leonard Fournette talking to running back, saying for the first time in my career, I finally have a quarterback, which kind of makes all the sense in the world considering he's in Jacksonville.
Rude and unnecessary though.
Love it.
Like the guy's an asshole. You don't need to say that. So
yeah, but Jacksonville is a traveling dumpster fire going down a San Francisco hill at 60 to 70 miles an hour and only picking up speed. That is a horrific franchise right now that has got rid of all of its talent.
I just think it's really mean. Yeah, fair enough. But to say that about Minshew, I think is harsh. To
defending
Bortles is a bit different. I am, because he seems like a good guy, and he's like I think he was like a 7th round rookie or something like that. Yeah. And it just seems really harsh for Fournette to just come out and say that about another young player.
Well, I mean, he's not talking just about Minshew. He's played most of his time with Bortles, didn't he? So he's saying it more about Bortles than he is Minshew.
Yeah,
but he didn't say that though, did he? He just said, but he's also like, all the quarterbacks suck. So who's his most recent quarterback? Like,
but you're talking
unnecessary
about defending a guy that
unnecessary and rude.
You kind of just said,
really,
Gardner Minshew is only a 7th round pick. He's a nice guy, don't we mean? And that's everything that makes up like a bang average quarterback of like.
Yeah, he did fine last year. He did absolutely fine.
Well, it's because compared to Blake
came in on a terrible team, better than did Blake absolutely fine.
That's not a compliment.
My exception is that he's having a pop at Nick Foles. Nick
Foles got injured in the first game.
That's fair.
Third throw.
So whichever quarterback you want to get annoyed at.
Had all the camp with him as well. Like, come on, Leonard. Like, maybe stay healthy for a year and then start throwing out that BD.
Yeah, I mean, make a play, and then start criticizing anyone else.
I mean, he made 31% of the offense for Jacksonville last year, so I think he made.
Do you think that he's a quality running back? Do you think he's a quality running back?
Better than the crap they had at Tampa Bay already. Better than Todd Gurley. You'd rather have him than Todd. I'd rather have him than James Conner. So
don't say that. I picked him up in fantasy this week.
Yeah, I like James Conner a lot, but if you had a choice between those two, Fournette is a better player. There's no question about that.
They're on a similar level.
I think Fournette, the trouble with Fournette is that he has all the great capabilities to be a really good running back. Like, he's got the skill set and everything's there.
Yep.
It's just the question of whether being in Jacksonville has turned him into a complete arsehole with this kind of attitude, and whether he can stay healthy. And if he gets an offensive line to block for him, he should be fantastic.
Yeah. If you say, for example, you take Conner and you have the great Steelers offensive line, you put a Fournette behind that, he's running all day. He's running like Le'Veon Bell would have done. He would have got Le'Veon Bell level numbers.
No.
Steelers offense. No, he would have done because
no. Come on, you're way exaggerating who Fournette is. He's not a guy who makes. He's not a guy who makes people miss.
Yes,
he could develop into one of the best power backs in the league, but he's not a guy who's going to make good defenses break. He's not. I don't think he's ever going to be a Derrick Henry.
He doesn't run with that patience of Le'Veon Bell either. Like, Le'Veon Bell's success.
It's not about the patience, though, is it? The offensive line for the Steelers said that they had to change how they were playing with Le'Veon Bell versus James Conner. With them, they were just getting a block and letting Le'Veon Bell do what they're doing. With James Conner, they're blocking to a hole, so there's a hole to hit. If you put Leonard Fournette in that system with that offensive line and the rest of the weapons around him, he's putting up crazy numbers. I'm telling you that now.
I can't work out if this is Jazz's Fournette bias or Jazz's Steelers O-line bias.
It's a strong combination.
It's a strong opinion. I'm telling you now that he's got a lot more talent than you guys are giving him any credit for.
No, I think he's got
the physical. I think he's got the physical attributes, but I don't know about this skill set that he's got. I mean, he's not a pass catching back.
Yes,
he doesn't make. He doesn't make players.
He catches tons of passes. So
behind the line of scrimmage, and then doesn't make people miss.
Okay, I'll tell you what, Dave. In the words of what's his face, John Favreau from Couples Retreat, let's watch some tape and then we'll
He's
get back
rude.
to it.
He's rude.
Well, that's all you care about. You care about his attitude. I don't care about his
Technically
attitude.
not a skill
What
set.
can he do on the field? What can he do?
Yeah,
on the
he's
field?
limited. He's super
He's
limited.
not limited
Jazz.
at all.
He's super limited.
He's less limited than Devonta Freeman ever was.
I mean, fair.
No.
Yeah,
Devonta
definitely.
Freeman,
Well,
when he
100%.
was,
There's no question about that one.
oh man. All right, we need to move on. Jesus, it makes me think that you don't even know anything.
What it
When you
makes
say
me
some
think
of
the
these
same
things.
about you, actually, my
Where's
friend.
this Leonard Fournette love come from as well?
Yeah, I like him.
God, you're rude as well.
That's fine. I'm happy to be rude.
I like
That
it.
is
Fire.
that is part of his skill set, though, being extremely rude. Leonard Fournette.
So, just 1 second, sorry guys, just to bring back to Leonard Fournette one more time. So, how many receptions
didn't
do you
get
reckon he
off
would have
Leonard
had
Fournette.
in 3 seasons? In 3 seasons with Jacksonville, how many receptions do you think he will have had, Dave?
I know that he had receptions, but I'm not
How many do you reckon?
talented pass catching back.
That's besides the point, because if he's not talented,
it's
he
not.
wouldn't catch passes. He wouldn't be schemed.
What,
to
in a
catch
terrible team that's run by
Yep.
terrible people? What,
Yep.
they wouldn't make any mistakes on tactics? Okay, right. I'm not going to play your game. Why?
passes. So how many
I
receptions?
don't
do you
know.
think?
He got 40 a season.
Close, 134 in
120.
3 seasons.
Right.
Oh.
Okay.
So
And
under.
that's not a pass catching back. That's someone who catches passes.
No. Not a good pass catching back. What did he do with those catches
He took them for 1,000 yards.
over 3 seasons?
Yeah, with 134 receptions, 1,000 yards.
Okay.
So,
So you're
if
walking
you-
like
if you-
seven
that's
a carry.
roughly that, or seven
a catch,
reception. Yeah. Which, if they're behind the line of scrimmage, you take that all day. Do you know what his rushing average was? 4 yards a carry.
That's not
No.
enough.
Well, it's not.
I mean, are
But
you
then
excited
if
by
you
that?
are
I
the
don't know.
only threat on that offense, if you're the only player
Yeah,
that
no,
anyone gives
Jazz,
a crap
I'm
about,
100% in on this. Of like Leonard Fournette in a good team would be a much better running back.
Yeah, but you
No
could
doubt.
start comparing him to Le'Veon Bell and stuff.
Yeah, it's when you
You're
start
saying
saying Le'Veon Bell, that's
mean,
like,
You know, and you're saying that he's better than Devonta Freeman when we went to the Super Bowl, which is just ridiculous. I mean, like, we've never seen anything
is.
like that from Leonard Fournette. We haven't. I
But
don't know what
again,
you're
but
watching.
then again, that comes down to being in a Duff team. So
Yeah.
let's
enough.
talk about other Duff things. This was kind of why I wanted to do a bit of like the other news and stuff like that.
he
Is
got
that
76 receptions last year. Sorry, 76 receptions.
That's enough. That's some rude Fournette stuff that's coming out your mouth now.
That good enough for you?
Interrupting the
That good enough
host as
for
he's
you?
trying to pull you off your
Seven,
crazy
we're just-
narrative.
Sick.
We're
He's
just
trying to
trying to-
save you, Jazz. He's trying to save you from yourself, and you just keep coming back.
Well, you'd say he doesn't catch passes, and he
No,
doesn't,
that's
he
not
doesn't
what I
catch
said.
passes.
That's not what I said.
I can't wait to listen to this back to hear for you saying he doesn't catch passes.
I said he's not
What
a
you
good
said.
pass catching back.
You said he doesn't catch passes.
Not what I said.
Hey, Jazz, go back and look at the tape and come back next week if you.
Oh, I
Well,
will.
yeah, go and watch some tape on Leonard Fournette
Oh, I will.
instead
Yeah,
of
I
just
will.
looking at the stats. You crazy man.
All right.
I ain't tried it. It almost worked.
That's Leonard Fournette's career summed up at the moment. He tried it; it almost worked.
You put him in the
good
system,
fun.
he's going to smash it. Anyway, carry on.
Fair enough.
Other dumb things around the NFL before we get bogged down in Leonard Fournette dumbness. The Chicago Bears are continuing to start Mitch Trubisky.
Funny. Right,
over
okay.
Nick Foles.
Jazz. Let me settle things down between me and you a little bit. Okay, let's have a fun little bet. How many games does Trubisky survive?
How many
before Nick
quarters?
Foles come in? How many quarters? I'm going to set the over and under at 6 quarters.
Oh, shit. I was going to say 3, so I'm going under.
Oh, right. Okay,
Wow.
3, right. 3.
Oh.
You think he's going to get yanked in the first game?
game.
Okay.
I could happily see it happen in the first quarter.
And they're playing the
remember the Texans?
Lions.
They
who
start
are
the
kind of
Lions,
like
yeah.
a,
Yeah,
you
see,
know.
I then personally, we'll get to the picks at the end, but I can see him getting yanked in that game. I can see him get yanked early in the game after. Remember when the Texans were the Hard Knocks, they had, I think it was Hoyer and Mallet, and they yanked Hoyer in the first quarter or something like that?
Yeah.
And
that
that's
was
what I
wild.
can see happening. That's
Okay.
what I can see happening. Because
I
everyone
hope
knows
so.
Trubisky's useless. So
Yeah.
Foles has to be at some point the starter. There's no way you pay him all that money and acquire him for not playing him.
It's a shame that he hasn't beaten him out, though, isn't it? That
Maybe
Foles can't just beat him out.
But I think I was thinking about this. Nick Foles makes me think that he's the kind of guy that goes into a team and they're like, "You're our guy, Nick," and he's like, "Oh, okay, all right." Whereas if you do what you had him do in Philadelphia, which is, "Hey, Nick, like, play some football." He's better coming in as a backup because it takes all the pressure off him. Whereas being a starter, it's like, I actually need to be a lead. And I don't think Nick Foles is necessarily that leader.
Yeah, he's
in
not
the
a
same
loud
way,
guy,
I don't buy that Carson Wentz is a leader. As you know, when you hear Carson Wentz saying stuff in a huddle, I don't think he's saying it because he believes it. I think he's saying it because he thinks a leader needs to say those things like, "Hey guys, let's have fun." So I don't think he's actually having fun. I think he's saying that to try and give off that air. And I think Nick Foles is kind of the same way in that sense. So Nick Foles coming in as a backup, as in, the first guy sucks. Well, we'll just put in Nick and see what he can do. Takes the pressure off him completely. So I'd say week 4 against the Indianapolis Colts in Soldier Field is when Mitch Trubisky at halftime gets pulled out. After they've lost,
well over then. Okay.
After they've lost to Atlanta, after they've struggled to get a win at home against the Giants in week 2, which they will win, but like fine margins, and they'll lose on the road in opening weekend against the Lions. But when the Colts are murdering them and Trubisky's doing nothing, then Nick Foles comes out with that BDN and starts slinging it. And then the Bears realize, we've only got Allen Robinson as well.
I was going to say the Bears are still the Bears, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's I reckon week 4 Trubisky lost.
I don't think it's going to last that long at all. I also think
so dumb.
Maybe there's a chance that maybe the Bears front office and head coach are just trying to play a double bluff on us all. So where the Lions think, we got a crap one to prepare for. We're going to feast on this, and then Nick Foles comes out, opening drive, just destroys him.
That would be the dumbest thing because Mitch Trubisky's then reading all these reports about him being the starter. And you'd assume that inside the Bears, they would have told Mitch, like, "Hey, everybody who's starting, put your hand up, Mitch." No.
Yeah. Or maybe they are circulating it and they know inside the building that's what's going to happen. But maybe
that's conspiracy theories.
But that's even worse because then Mitch is the number 2, and he just has to sit there and read about how he's the worst number 1 starting quarterback in Chicago Bears history again, or something like that.
Yeah. Well, that's just the way it goes.
But if he comes out as a start, like what have you seen this summer in Trubisky that you haven't seen already in NFL games, like in actual football games? He's not a good quarterback.
He's had some more time to mature in the offense and learn it and learn the system. So you could argue that maybe that's made him a bit more of a competent quarterback. But Nick Foles knows the offense too. Yeah, totally. And then the trouble you have is having no preseason games. I think you've had preseason games. Nick Foles wins that hands down every day of the week, twice on a Sunday. But because there's no preseason games to put Mitch Trubisky in live action to see how his decision-making actually is looking when he's going to be hit in the face, it's very different than having a shirt on your back that says you can't be hit. Because you don't care if Khalil Mack's coming with a hand in your face because, well, he's not going to hit you.
Yeah.
Well, he's coming to end your career. You're going to be a little bit more worried about it.
At least, if unless you've been on the Bears YouTube channel watching their practices, which, I can't imagine anybody outside of the Chicago area is doing.
Only Mitch Trubisky
we don't know,
watches
do we?
those.
Yeah,
maybe
he better watch
he
should watch his plays back because it might help him.
Yeah.
But for the rest of us, we don't really know what's been going on. And to be honest, the Bears are so uninspiring to me. I mean, it was a couple of seasons ago that we were talking about Matt Nagy being a great coach and their defense came together and it was number 1 in the NFL. And now it's like, back to being completely irrelevant. That's what it feels. It feels like they're a 6. They're not going to be a terrible team, I don't think. But
I mean, they
were
were
a 6-8 team.
They weren't a bad team when they had the double doink year.
6-10 team. Sorry.
Yeah, the double doink year was unfortunate.
They'd have lost to the Saints as well in the game after that in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But the double doink kind of crippled Matt Nagy's legacy a little bit because I'm in the playoffs with the Bears and then beaten by cruel fate, but it just goes down as a loss and you know, who
A
cares
loss is
at
a
that
loss,
point?
whether
So,
it's
yeah.
by a point or a doink.
It just feels like
Whereas-
they're really far away now, doesn't it? Especially like just even in their division, it feels like they're the last team.
I've just got.
Ooh,
I
interesting.
think
Okay.
they will be.
I disagree
I
with
think
that.
they're worse than the Lions right now, but I don't know.
I
Depends
don't
what
think they
happens
are.
with Stafford. We'll
I
see.
think they will be better than we think, but they will still probably be the weakest team in that division. I don't
Oh,
think the
right.
Bears are like a duff team. I don't think they're you know, 3-4
Pick their
win
record
kind
then.
of team.
What's their
You
record?
don't think they're the Jacksonville Jaguars, basically?
No, definitely not. And I think
No,
there are
no,
other
no, no. No, I
franchises.
don't. I
that
don't
will-
either. I don't either. I,
I
think
mean,
they're like a
I'm
6-win team.
I haven't looked at their schedule, but I'd say like 6, closer to 500 than no wins kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I personally think the Lions are the weakest team in that division, even with Matt
That's
Stafford
fair.
there.
I'm not gonna defend the
Just 'cause I
Lions.
think as a whole team, the Bears are better. Especially if you look at their defense, their D line's very, very good. But you look at the Lions; they haven't really got any pieces outside of, say, Stafford, Golladay, and what's his face, the other guy. What's the other receiver called?
Jones.
That's it, Marvin Jones
Marvin
Jr.
Jones, yeah. I don't really know their defense a lot. I don't know a lot of their.
Well, they got
players,
rid of
to
the
be
best
honest.
player, Darius Slade, and gave him to us. So
Got to the Eagles, yeah.
that worked out nicely. Thank you.
Yeah, that was
Detroit.
pretty sweet. That's something something nice to talk about with the Eagles.
They got
Just-
some of the Pats players, I think.
He's not on the Wednesday injury report either, Darius Slade. So
That's a
really
start for you,
nice.
Ollie. There you go.
Oh my god.
We were talking
yeah.
about that just before you came on, Jazz. Just
Oh,
how,
really?
Yeah, just how savage.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, you look at 5 of those players, key starting players: Alshon Jeffrey, Derek Barnett, Lane Johnson, Jalen Reagor, Miles Sanders. All of those already on the Eagles injury report on Wednesday before the season starts.
Yeah, it's
And-
not a great start.
Limited participation doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be out for the opening game or anything like that, but it's just like, that's the kind of thing that you don't want to see in week 1 to 5. You want to see all of those guys healthy and fine, especially as the running game is going to be based around Miles Sanders. Jalen Reagor is meant to be the guy to come in and complete that receiver core. Alshon Jeffrey's the big, tasty unit to throw out, and Derek Barnett's the beast coming off the edge, and Lane Johnson we need as a tackle. I mean, we're going to have Jason Peters, like Hall of Fame.
He still did well last year, didn't he, though, in fact?
Yeah. I mean, I love Jason Peters, Hall of Fame player. One of the best offensive linemen in the NFL, but he's been playing at right guard for a reason when they re-signed him, because he's probably not quick enough and agile enough anymore to play left tackle, and then he walks into
That's
Doug
DeMarcus
Pedersen's-
Lawrence's side, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So he's going to get lit up by DeMarcus Lawrence when he plays the Cowboys.
should be
Probably.
fun.
But the Giants don't have much on their D-line, so you're okay. The Redskins, maybe Chase Young's that side.
Somebody
I think
said that the
Chase Young
Eagles are
will
going to get.
just rip through him.
excited
Somebody
about Chase.
somebody
Young.
said the Eagles are going to go 11-5 this year, and when I heard that, I was like,
And they
oh.
are an idiot.
Yeah.
Who said that?
Who was that? Rosenthal. He's pretty high
Rosenthal,
on
yeah.
the.
Oh
He
my
is
goodness.
so high
Has
on
he
it. He was
seen
like-
the schedule?
He was saying top 25 players in the Eagles are as good as top 25 in any other team. I was like, oh.
That's just stupid.
Yeah. Let's move away from that. The
I
last
mean,
one.
against the Chiefs, for example, the Chiefs win at least the top 10 every single position.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The last one before we do any of the prediction-y stuff and things like that was the just the thing that we were chatting about last night on the WhatsApp group that I kind of brought up, the NFL referees thing, and just how we might have a really controversial season because of the
refs.
changes.
It's
Because of the
such a good
referees.
point. I didn't
didn't
think
even
about
read
it
about
at
it, yeah.
all, and I haven't read about it. So
So why don't you
Yeah.
summarize it for us, Ollie,
Yeah.
so you can just let everyone listen.
So basically, because I
about.
don't know if anybody heard, but we've had this pandemic thing that is
what's that?
causing a few
I
problems.
hadn't heard about it.
Some people have been calling it a patdemic, as in Mahomes is going to take over, but it's not. It's a pandemic. It's going to affect everybody. It's affected everything already with the NFL, but NFL referees is something that's kind of gone under the radar. But normally, refereeing crews are crews that work together throughout the season. Then they pick like the best guys from each crew and put them together for the playoffs, and you kind of have to rebuild that chemistry in the playoffs, and they kind of work them that way. But during
Just
the regular
to stop you
season,
there, sorry, Ollie. How stupid is that, by the way? How dumb is that? You take referees that work together as a team and usually do quite well, and you split them up to make all-star referee crews.
Because you got to make sure you've got Ed Hockley in every single year when he was reffing, because
just for the biceps.
Had the guns of steel, man. Ed Hockley
that guy's jacked.
Yeah, I mean, middle of winter doing Lambeau Field, Ed Hockley's still in trying to be in a vest top rather than.
I was going to say he should be in one of those stringer vests, shouldn't he?
Yes, he should.
So
sorry, Ollie, carry on.
So instead, now they're not going to be in officiating crews, and they're not going to be staying in. They will be staying in hotels together, but they won't be traveling together or anything like that. Referees are going to have to drive themselves to the games, and the allocations of games for individual referees is based on where they live. So refereeing crews are going to be mixed up every single week, depending on who's playing at home that week and where they're going to have to travel to. They're going to have to drive to these games, sometimes 4 to 5 hours the day before, which doesn't sound like much, but it is a long drive.
It's a long
5-hour drive.
American standard, though, that's down the road.
Yeah, it's short for the US, but for the mind, it's still going to be like, geez, I've just driven across the country, or like 5 hours of the country anyway. And then they're going to get to their hotels. They're not going to be able to meet up in a single room together and run through game tape on the game before like they normally do. So they're going to have to do all of that via Zoom in their own individual rooms in the hotel, which again affects the chemistry and the discussion a bit of how they're going to make calls and how they're going to look at individual players, etc. And then they're going to have, if anybody they're going to be tested the day before the game and in the midweek before the game. So it's 2 tests a week, I think I read. And if anybody comes down with a positive COVID test the day before the game, they're going to have replacements that might be able to drive there to get there in time. And if they can't, then they're going to allow 5 to 6 man refereeing crews instead of 7-man refereeing crews. Now, all of this sounds a little bit boring and like, yeah, okay, whatever. But if you've got 5 pairs of eyes instead of 7, like the number of holding calls, for instance, that people will see, the number of decisions, there are fewer people that are going to be able to look at that and make a clear visual call on what they've seen. So that's really going to affect it. The chemistry of how they're going to operate together is going to be massively affected. The way they dissect up game tape before the game is going to be affected because they can't sit down in a room and discuss it together. And I just think it's the best of the situation that we've got. But if you've got a guy who's driven, say, for a long day beforehand, is knackered when he gets to the hotel, runs through the game tape, and then has to referee a game, 2 people short-handed potentially, you're kind of suddenly looking like this could get a bit crappy in terms of decisions that we see. And I'm not saying that we should have extra leniency for referees. We should always hold referees to account. And we have, thankfully, in the NFL video officials and everything like that.
Do you think that we should use the video officials more then in this year if they're going to...
But the NFL's been
there should be some
trying
allowance for it.
Speed up play so much in the last few years because of the problem of it, even for NFL standards, being so stop-start and slow because of advert breaks.
I was going to say, though, the advert breaks could, they could just make less money and then they could fix that one.
Yeah, but I think they really like making, $3 billion a year or $5 billion a year or whatever.
I would quite like that as well, to be fair, if I was an NFL owner. So
you wouldn't be going in being like, well, let's just make 4 this year instead of 5.
I wonder if you took, say, 2 advert breaks or 3 advert breaks out and you made it a 10-minute or 20-minute shorter game, if you get more viewers because there'd be fewer stops. Therefore, the advert breaks you could sell for more money.
It's so good, though. I mean, I don't think, the NFL's so popular. If it was on the way down in terms of viewing numbers, then I think they would consider stuff like that because they'd be like, why are we losing people? But they're only gaining people. Even internationally, I mean, it's getting bigger in the UK. That's why we're talking about it on this podcast.
Well, I think that's the reason why
we have to global, baby.
I think that's why they're trying to keep it a bit shorter. Because if you think of the people who say they don't want to watch the American football in this country, for example, it's always it's so stop-start. It's not. It's always got those advert breaks. Whereas if you take those out of it, make it quicker, you might be able to appeal to a wider audience. Maybe
I agree, but is that going to make up for like the lost advertising? They would have run the numbers and all this stuff.
No, of course they would have done. People much smarter than us have done this.
Didn't they only? I think
the reason why it's like it is.
The last time they made an adjustment was like they removed 1 30-second advert break in each quarter or something like that, and they were like, "See, look, we've sped it up by 20 minutes,
2 minutes
a game or something like that." It's like, oh, great, brilliant. It's still pretty long. Like it's still 6 hours on my Sunday night, which I've got no problem with, to be honest. But back to the officiating thing.
Yeah. So are you saying it's kind of the thing that nobody's talking about in the NFL,
I think
but it could be affected a lot?
I think there are going to be some pretty irate 20,000 people in 5 stadiums this week. I mean, yeah.
There's going to be some of those YouTube freak out videos coming out of Saints fans. Hopefully,
God!
Hopefully, Saints fans.
I don't know the New Orleans accent. Actually,
that wasn't it.
I don't know what's the case.
Yeah, wasn't it? I'm not going to do it because that could get real offensive real quickly. But in Kansas City, I imagine, in Kansas, 16,000 fans tonight are going to be pretty livid when the roughing the passer call isn't called on Patrick Mahomes because 2 guys are normally used to looking downfield and one of them should have been looking at what happens to Mahomes after he throws or something like that. I just think it's going to end up...
It's a good point.
Bad calls make big moments in the NFL seemingly every season.
Yeah.
This is a year where it could actually be rife with them. That's all.
I mean, that's saying that it's not rife with them already.
Yeah.
Because you can look back and say there's quite a few really bad calls that have been done quite a few times.
Rifer?
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully sounds a bit bang, bang, shoot, shoot.
Yeah, that's like, he's getting a bit rifly at the moment. As in like, Patrick Mahomes is shooting them out. It's pretty rifly from the
Pac-Man
pocket there.
Jones.
Yeah, okay. I'm not sure. I'm not sure more gun references.
The drop for that
going to help America at the moment.
Give it time.
What America needs.
Give it time. Okay, we're gonna have to come back and start the predictions in a couple of minutes or so. But before we go, Dave, it's quite pressure making these predictions, right? Like you're on the spot, you're making a big call, it's gonna hang over you the whole season. I just want to take you back to the last time that you were under some pressure.
And we were all, it was me, Yogi, and Max.
You're on the clock, Dave.
No, I'm not.
The internet crashed as we started the draft, and by the time we got back in...
Yeah, you're just about to auto draft your pick.
Yeah, you just took the Bills' defense.
What, who did?
You did.
You did.
I'm not on the clock.
You were.
Yeah.
You were.
You're joking.
Nope, you just picked the Bills' defense.
Well, that's actually not the end of the world, but what the
I don't know. Are you on the draft?
How did you screw that up?
You're on auto draft, mate. You've got the little auto draft.
No.
Do you want to take us through anything like that? Explain any of that?
So that is audio from our draft last week.
Fated draft.
Our fancy league last week. I'm just trying to compose myself after hearing that back. It's just giving me flashbacks of getting the Bills defense.
Wait till you see the video. It's phenomenal.
Did you get the bit afterwards where I got really mad at Jazz because he was enjoying it so much, and I was like, "Shut up, Jazz."
Oh, I can acquire
think you should add that
Don't
on.
worry. Yeah, I can acquire that.
But after having shared it with you now, Dave, I'm going to put that on the Insta to try and let everyone see the look on your face. When
There's a beautiful moment where you're like smiling, like, yeah, great. And then it's like, no, you just drafted. And you're like, what?
It froze, and it just looked like I was well off picking. And then suddenly you guys were saying stuff to me, and I was like, nah, they just put me on. And then I tried to do it on my phone. And then they were both saying that the internet went down on my laptop. I was trying to do it on my phone. And then the internet started working on my laptop again. So it kicked me out of the app on my phone. And they were just going back and forward. Yeah. And I was just like, what? The Bills defense? I don't want to say the It was so...
Luckily, you got back in time to make your next pick because it was not too long.
I mean, the Bills defense is the defense I actually wanted. But I took them in like round 8 or whatever.
Yeah, something high.
Way early. Way early.
Something real high.
So annoying.
So I just want you to stay calm, stay cool in this moment. There's
Yeah,
no
man.
auto pick or anything like that for these picks. Hopefully you've sorted it out yourself, and we will we'll come back with some picks in a sec.
Good fun.
All right, I'll end this this
Should we
chat.
leave in next one?
Yeah, go into the next one because we've only got 3 minutes left on
3
this.
minutes. Okay, we'll go straight in, shall we?
All right,
Clicking
cool.
on me.
Oh, before we go, because we can just talk, because then we can go straight into recording.
Yeah.
On the next one, what order do you want to do now? Do you want to just? I'm going to ask you guys a couple of questions about predictions for this year, if that's all right.
So the MVP, Rookie of the Year, all that sort of stuff. I haven't really had a thought about it at all. It's just going to be as quick a snap reaction.
I'm no real analysis unless you want to put some in. I'm just curious what you guys think. And then, did you want to pick?
I've got divisional
NFC and AFC.
I've got divisional winners, and then conference championship games, and then Super Bowl, and obviously Super Bowl winner.
Oh, division champions.
And I've got some.
I'm not sure who I want to.
I've got some predictions from some of our guests from the last 12 months or so.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's fun.
So, Shane Vereen's, by the way, and he fully admitted to this. Shane, I said, who have you got for the Super Bowl, meaning two teams?
Weird?
And he just said, the Chiefs, but it's too early to call. And I was like, yeah. That's like...
That's why we're doing it, Shane.
I said to him,
Bloody
that's the most Bill Belichick kind of prediction that you could give. And
yeah, when do you want to call it? Do you want to call it the day that they do it? Like when they're 14-2? Like, do you want to call it that?
And he was like, yeah, you got me there. Yeah.
He's had too much tequila, isn't he? That's his...
You can never have too much tequila. Honestly, man, that stuff just doesn't give you a hangover.
He sent you down a road.
It's so rocky, but it's delicious.
Right,
Podcast brought to you by Gamma Ray. We are willing to be sponsored by Gamma Ray.
Oh my god! Can you imagine?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
It'd be a problem, though. It'd be a problem.
You'd have to have a neck oil, a Gamma Ray, and a Lupaloid every podcast.
Oh, I'd get so...
And go up, yeah.
So unwell and alcoholic-y.
Delicious.
Right, questions.
Okay.
So I've asked you guys to have a look before the season starts who your MVP is, who your Rookie of the Year is, who your Defensive Player of the Year is, and who your Coach of the Year is.
Did you ask us this earlier?
Yeah.
All right, I didn't read that at all.
I didn't actually do any research on it at all because I was in the middle of eating dinner. So.
Snap thoughts on those then, if you can.
So I'll go, because Ollie probably needs a bit more time to think about it. I'll go MVP.
Yep.
I'm going not quite left field, but not far off it. It's been MVP before, not for a few years. Just changed teams. He's not been humble anymore. He's got a crazy wardrobe. Cam Newton. That's the silence of a big, big choice.
That is
bold.
So bold. I really like it.
So bold.
What are the odds on that? You really need to look at the odds on that, and I think you should put £1 on it.
Let me have a look now. I think that's...
Are you buying the hype that's coming out of New England at the moment, both by Cam and, Cam's taken to the offense faster than we expected after the whole Cam's really struggling with the offense kind of comments and things like that?
I wouldn't even say that. It's probably more a case of I just think
just a gut feeling of weirdness.
He could just do it because if the way the offense would run there, they've been running the ball really well with Brady there anyway. You put an option game into that with enough running back rotation, you don't know which way it's going to go. Cam's good at holding on to it. He can do the big jumping over the field. Brady was great at quarterback sneaks. Now you've got someone who can really sneak and actually run for yards.
But to be MVP, Jazz, I mean, we're not just talking about him being... If he's a top 10 quarterback and he's in the running for MVP, I would be amazed. That would be a huge, huge year for him. But for him to actually be MVP over like Patrick Mahomes and Russell
28
Wilson...
28-1, the odds.
God, that's not enough. That is not enough.
No,
I
not
thought it'd
really.
be 100.
First
don't
player
know.
at 100 is Nick Bosa, Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas.
Wow.
Yeah, but anybody
Teddy
that's a
Bridgewater.
quarterback is going to be massively increased because it's nailed on for quarterbacks
But doesn't-
90% of the time.
Doesn't it feel
And-
like it's less likely than that?
And if you're in that offense in New England under Bill Belichick, if the Patriots have that great year and Cam Newton is spearheading the offense with his running ability, with his ability to finish inside the 20-yard line.
Ollie's
as a
getting
runner-
sucked in. Ollie's
No,
getting
I
sucked
can-
in.
He's buying in.
No, I can see the method in the madness.
It's fun. I like it. No, I'm not.
You've
I'm
got
not
a safe
going
pair of
against it.
hands
I
in
just-
Julian
it's
Edelman to
just-
throw at, as long as he's got the chemistry with him. You've got
Hopefully, Harry takes the next step. Yeah.
Kill Harry. Yeah, you've got a 3-prong backfield that should be able to help carry the load, and Cam can use that to work to his ability with his running game as well. It's just whether he's going to be fit enough to survive a season, and if the Patriots are going to be that good.
They'll still win the AFC East. I'll tell you that now.
I just don't see
So-
Cam winning it.
I reckon they'll go say
Fascinating.
10-6,
Fascinating, Jazz. I love
and
it.
they'll go deep. And I think they'll go deep on the back of Cam.
I
Okay.
didn't see you coming out with Cam Newton.
No, I know.
I thought
I
you were
just-
going to say Tom Brady when
Yeah,
you
no.
started saying
Yeah.
those things. I
No.
was like, "Oh, he's going Tom Brady," and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's not
And it-
crazy."
So I was trying to hook you in.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
come
yeah.
in,
You did well.
then
You did well.
Yank you out
Okay,
the water.
okay.
That
Moving
just,
on
came,
then.
that just came to me, by the way. That's just one that just off the top of my head, I thought, actually, I can see that. I'm going with that.
Okay, fair enough. Ollie, what do you reckon? MVP.
There's only 2 candidates for me, and it's
Yep.
the last 2 winners, and I don't know which one of the whole of this NFL season to me feels like a coin flip around those 2, and I'll go Lamar Jackson to go back to back because
Back to back. Wow.
he is so fucking good. He is so good and so fun to watch. And that's the other thing that happens with MVP is that if you're a quarterback that's really fun to watch and you're putting up yardage
People
like
like
both
you,
of those
yeah,
guys do, then, and I could just see, again, if he avoids that hit outside of the pocket like he did all last year, if he stays healthy and he continues to do what he did last year, I don't know if there's another quarterback aside from Mahomes that gets anywhere near him.
I think so. Mine is Russell Wilson. And-
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, and I
Do you think the Seahawks are going to
I
be good
think
enough
that
to take Wilson
yes,
to him?
I think that it could happen. I think he's the most likely after those 2. I agree with you. And I think I just really want it to happen because he's having a Hall of Fame career and he hasn't had that MVP love, and I want him to get one. I know that he's got a lot of time, and it could happen in 5 years' time. It could happen in 3 years' time. But I just feel like the move for Jamal Adams in the offseason, the offense is coming together. It seems settled. I think the Seahawks are going to be strong this year. And I think Russell Wilson has always been that guy. He's always been that good. So
And they were unlucky to not finish top of the division last year.
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's hard, like you're saying, for Lamar Jackson to go back to back. It's incredibly difficult for these players to recreate these things. And Patrick Mahomes, it's basically him. He won it the year before. So for him to go 2 in 3, I don't know. It just feels like voters don't like repeating votes, I think. And I think they'll look for somebody else and it'll be Russell Wilson.
Lamar's Michael Vick on a really good team that knows how to play with Michael Vick. And that's what Atlanta never really were able to do when Vick was his peak. That's why I think he'll continue the kind of status.
I'm going to go on a limb here and say this. I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to have a good season.
Fair.
That's
I can completely understand.
That's
Jazz
my
is going
feeling.
bold with everything. You just think
I just don't think he is. I wouldn't have. Say for example, if I
defenses
was in
figure
the
him out.
10th round of fantasy, you dropped to me, I'd be like, I'll take him, but I'm not sure it's going to go very well. And then I would have taken Cam Newton and then watched him ride his way to the Super Bowl.
Okay. We'll leave it on that hot take. Moving on. Defensive player of the year. What do you reckon? You got strong feelings? Or is it
That's
just
tough,
Aaron?
isn't it?
Is it just Aaron Donald all through and through?
I don't know.
I think he hasn't got enough. Not that he needs help on his D line, but if he had a bit more help on his D line, he'd make more of an impact because he's always double teamed or triple teamed. He still break his way through, but he could do with a bit more help.
It was Stephon Gilmore last year, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah,
it's going to be him, Chandler Jones, and TJ Watt.
A little bit of a weaker year. TJ Watt's mine.
Yeah, I was going to say. I think
so. That's my pick.
I think
TJ.
TJ.
You're going to say that he's going to get over 14.5 sacks. I said that Ollie. Was that Ollie?
Ollie said under.
Sorry,
I said over.
Sorry, yeah.
Me and you are in agreement. We really like it.
Yeah, but what was I watching the other day that was saying like following sacks to judge a defensive player is the dumbest thing that you can do because it's not about the number of sacks they get; it's about how they pressure.
And
but he does that as well. So
yeah.
He's not just a.
So I'm saying TJ Watt
machine.
could be under 14.5 sacks and yet still be Defensive Player of the Year.
Fine.
Yeah, I reckon
it might be our old friend JJ.
JJ what? He's not going to stay healthy. He can't stay healthy.
I'm going out on a limb on this one too.
Jazz, you're going some crazy. But I think you need to put a pound on all of these because they're like.
I don't think they do Defensive Player of the Year. Let me have a look.
Do they not?
Don't think they do it as a bet.
I bet they take odds on everything, don't they?
No, I got MVP. That's it.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'll go with Marshall Lattimore.
Ooh, okay.
Lattimore is quality,
and they are going. That is going to be an air offensive down in the NFC South. And if Lattimore can lock up the best in that division, which he's highly capable of doing,
has done before.
Oh yeah.
Then he could be in for a big shout.
I've seen him just basically mark Julio Jones out of a game.
You don't want to be stuck on Revis Island, and you don't want to be floundering in the deep of Lattimore Lagoon.
I like the alliteration a lot there.
Yeah,
you should try and tweet that at him and see if that's what he decides to call it itself.
I'll send a tweet out to him.
You should do.
Cool. We're pretty tight, don't we?
All right, okay. Rookie of the year. What do you reckon? I think that's a fun one. That's a fun one.
Okay, there are four in the. A lot of people are going to watch Chase Young, but I don't think he's going to get it.
There's one.
So I reckon there are three, and they're all from LSU. Because I think Justin Jefferson's going to go off in Minnesota as the number 2 receiver, and I think he's going to be an absolute stud. Hence why Eagles fans will
I've got him in fantasy, so that's nice.
Rue missing him and taking Jalen Reagor. What's his name? The running back in Kansas City.
Clyde.
Double barrel. Clyde.
Yeah. That's who I've got, by the way.
That's going to be who wins it.
Who is going to probably get it because the Chiefs.
Yep.
And I think all eyes are still going to be on Joe Burrow. And if Joe Burrow has an acceptable year, because he's a quarterback in Cincinnati, of all places, I think it will just end up the story. And if he has a solid year... It tends to
be quarterbacks as well.
It will be really easy for him to take it.
Yep.
I reckon...
It was Kyler Murray last year, and then... who was it the year before?
Couldn't tell you. Maybe Saquon Barkley?
Oh, it might have been Saquon, actually.
I'm telling you, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to win that.
Yeah, that's who I've got.
That system, that ability.
Yeah,
I'll go Joe Burrow.
There's a reason why I was so happy to get him in our draft.
But yeah.
Jazzy.
And Ollie was so upset that I took him. He thought it was the most ridiculous thing ever.
I just don't. He's got.
I think you took him a little bit high, wasn't it? I think that's why we were questioning it.
He was pick 7. No, but I was 8th, wasn't I? Was I 7th or 8th?
Either way.
I was 8th. I picked him 8th.
Oh, that's fine.
He's got good odds for the opening touchdown of the NFL season, by the way, if you want to check that out.
Oh, really? What was his odds?
I can't remember where. I was looking at William Hill, but off the top of my head, I can't remember. And they had a really nice combo bet of what was it? It was him to get the first touchdown for the Chiefs, and then
six
Fuller to get the first touchdown for Houston, and that was something like 18-1, I think.
Well, I like that. I might have to check that one out. That was on Hill as well, was it?
Yeah.
Thank you, William Hill.
Yeah, that was a little combo bet.
Okay, coach of the year.
That's tough.
I'll throw mine out then. Belichick for me.
I
think he's not really been winning that award. I think he's only had one. and it's kind of just a given that he's the best coach in the league, and
Yeah.
everybody knows it. But
Yep.
you don't want to kind of celebrate, and it tends to be coaches that overcome adversity. There hasn't been a lot of adversity to overcome when you're in that division that the
What's
Patriots have
adverse
been
about
in.
having a former MVP at quarterback?
Yeah. Well, it is when he just got basically booted off a team, and they've lost their last Hall of Fame quarterback. So, like,
New
I
England
think
Patriots fans
there's
moaning
enough
about this
adversity for them to get it, for him to get that narrative going, and for him to get it.
Patriots
fair.
fans moaning about the quarterback position is like Arsenal fans moaning about, oh, we only make the Europa League every year. Like, you're still one of the top sides in English football. So shut up. You've still got an MVP quarterback. You just haven't got the best ever quarterback. Where's the adversity?
Until he wins MVP this year. So I think the reason
does
why
it every
Belichick
year.
doesn't get the awards like that because you expect it from him. So it's no longer a
Yeah.
greatness; it's because you expect it. Like for us in normal football or soccer, Sir Alex Ferguson didn't win many Manager of the Months, Manager of the Years,
Yeah.
but he consistently won fucking everything. So if you're winning everything, who gives a shit about the little kind of?
Well, you
It's
get
like-
your award when you raise your.
Yeah,
Super Bowl
I'll drop my
trophy.
little award here. Here's my Champions League trophy or my Premier League
Yeah.
trophy.
Yeah,
How many
it's
years
like-
you got? Oh yeah, come back like Mourinho did. 3 trophies. Remember that thing is 3 Premier Leagues. That's how many
I've won 3. No respect. No respect.
Yeah. That's what it's like.
How many others have won 3?
But of course, Bill will be doing his little ring dance, won't he, with all 8 on his fingers.
Yeah.
I still don't know for Coach of the Year. I'm going to go as a home pick. I'm going to go Mike Tomlin.
Nice.
Because I reckon the Steelers will go, like I said before, 12-4, and I reckon we'll make it deep in the playoffs.
I'm not as high on their win total, but I think they're definitely a playoff team.
Well, if you looked at the ESPN,
I'm quite excited about them, to be honest.
the ESPN a supercomputer ran it 20,000 times a season, and the average win rate for the Steelers was 12-4, as was the Ravens.
So I've seen a lot of predictions of like Steelers for the Super Bowl.
It just depends on Roethlisberger. If he's there,
Yep.
then it's all around him. I mean, like,
We just needed to score 18 points last year. If we could scored 18 points a game, we win most games because our defense was giving up just 17. But we were scoring, they gave up like 17.2, but no, 17.8, but we scored 17.2, something stupid like that. If we just score 1 extra point a game on average, we're winning. And the defensive players have got an extra year to get used to the system, learn what they're doing. Minka Fitzpatrick's there for the whole
the only thing
year.
I'd say about that, I agree with all of it. The only thing I'd say is that history-wise, it's very hard for defenses to repeat
Oh, yeah.
great years, and it's kind of a bit like floozy, like it doesn't make sense because you kind of the pieces can all still be there, but defenses just don't seem to have the same consistency as offenses. So I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to be a top 3 defense, but I could just these things happen all the time.
They do.
Defenses, and you just think, oh, that was weird. So like last year they were amazing, but
Yeah.
we'll see. Hopefully they're good for you, Jazzy.
Mike
Fingers
McCarthy
crossed,
in Dallas.
Ooh.
He gets Coach of the Year.
What are you doing?
Why are you putting that out in the world?
What are you doing?
I hate that. I hate that you just did that.
I don't
Can you
like
go have
it
a
myself.
shower, please? Because you should be washing yourself off with that dirty talk.
Yeah, I know.
That was disgusting. With the
an
Wentz jersey in
Eagles
the
fan.
background.
Yeah.
Jazz, have you
Oh.
got Jazz? Can you
Oh,
have a word with your mate?
he's not my mate.
It's not mine.
I can't be associated with this bullshit.
Oh, I hated it. All right, what's next? Jeez.
Why?
All right, okay. What
No,
games?
hold on 1 second. Justify it. Come on.
The justification is that the NFC East is going to be walked over by Dallas, and it's going to make them look really good. And because of the hype that Dallas always generate when they have a really good season, and they'll probably end up having a decent run in the playoffs because their team on paper isn't complete garbage.
Ollie.
And Mike McCarthy
Oh,
will be.
don't put this out there,
Mike
man. Don't do
McCarthy
it.
will be
Don't do it.
praised for doing
Oh, I
what
don't
wasn't
like it.
done before at America's team. And you know that people like Troy Aikman and Jimmy Johnson on TV will just be banging that drum week in,
Oh,
week out.
this is self-flagellation.
Mike
This is
McCarthy right here.
This is
Mike
this,
McCarthy's.
this is self-loathing to its max.
This is a typical Eagles fan, isn't it?
It's-
Dallas are not going to win the division, and they're not going to be walking
They
away
are.
with the NFC
I think they are
East.
going to win the division.
I think the Eagles still do it. I
Really?
don't think I do. Yeah,
Right.
I don't think the Cowboys have got the impetus to do it.
I think the Cowboys are going to have the year that a similar year to what they did 2-3 years ago when they went 12 and 4. 12 and 4 regular season, and then they get knocked out. Maybe first round, maybe in the divisional round.
Do you not remember looking at their schedules in the NFC East and the divisions they're playing? They're playing.
Yeah, it's
I'm sure
horrific.
they're playing the AFC North and the NFC South. Is that correct, Ollie?
Yeah.
So that's 6 games that most of those teams are probably going to lose. I don't think the Cowboys are going to beat the Browns. I don't think the Cowboys they're going to have a chance to beat the Bengals, but I don't think they even beat the Bengals. So I think they're already at 10 wins at most.
You don't think they'll beat the Bengals?
Nope.
Why?
I really don't rate the
getting
Cowboys
a
at
bit-
all. I think that on paper they have a team, but in reality, I think they just aren't that good. I don't think
just
their
think
defense is very good.
Isn't it classic Cowboys to have a bad year, a good year, a bad year, a good year? Like,
I mean, last year wasn't a bad year. It was a 8-8,
bad year. They missed
and
the
the year
playoffs.
before was 8-8 as well. I think.
Last year was an embarrassing year for
Last year
Dallas.
was a terrible year.
But yeah, but it wasn't a losing year. It still was 8-8. I'm pretty sure
No,
the year
but-
before they were 8-8.
It was a really embarrassing year for Dallas last year.
Well, the same that it was for the Eagles too, but they still won the division.
Look, it's
The
only
Cowboys completely
reason-
choked at the end of the year.
the reason why why McCarthy will get it won't be necessarily because Dallas are fantastic or anything. It will be the number of Cowboys that, like, the media influence. Because when Dallas do well, places like Fox Sports, because Aikman's so big there, and Jimmy Johnson, people like that, just start blabbering on about like,
You think they stuff the ballots? They're just like
It's like how
get all their
Arsenal.
tentacles.
It's like how
and just-
Arsenal win every single social media voting contest because
That's the
all of
second
their
time you've
fans are on
mentioned
social
Arsenal.
media
It
more.
makes,
Yeah, I know. it's
makes me
just-
think that you don't like
Ollie does
Arsenal very
hate
much.
Arsenal. Yeah.
Yeah, I know he does.
But all their fans are so active on social media. So when there's a social media vote, Arsenal end up winning it. And it's the same with Dallas, except thankfully the MVP isn't social media. Coach of the year isn't social media. But yeah, it will just...
This is making me so angry. You say
Jazz has got so many bold predictions this
I
year.
really do.
but
I honestly,
I just going back to it. Can I just, like, just have some self-respect, Ollie? Like, don't like. Why do you got to do that? It's supposed to be fun, The podcast's
Maybe.
fun. Football's fun. We're just getting started.
I really wanted to say
so
Bruce Arians.
Hang on a second. The Falcons are probably going to only win 6 games this year, but I feel all confident. Let's get excited about this year. Let's not dwell in the depths, in the basement, being like, oh, please, nobody hit me. Oh, the Cowboys are going to be so good. Mike McCarthy's going to, there's a conspiracy. The Cowboys fans are going to get the coach of the year. No, I just don't want to hear it.
The other one I had was Bruce Arians. And that one I'd really like to see.
more likely.
Yes.
I'd really like to see
way
Bruce
more
Arians.
likely.
Because we like Bruce Arians. Positivity. Come on.
And
But
Tampa Bay probably going to win the Super Bowl.
this jersey behind me doesn't allow me to be that positive.
It does, because you won the Super Bowl like 3 years
Yeah,
ago.
but he
Come
didn't.
on.
He fucking didn't.
Yeah, but you've
we
won
need
more
Nick
Super
Foles
Bowls
back.
the last 25 years than Dallas have.
Yeah, that's true.
So who gives a
sorry.
shit about Dallas?
Sorry for bringing the mood down.
You know
Dave.
what? That stirred
just-
anger in me
let's-
like Leonard Fournette stirs anger in Dave.
Yeah.
That's how much I did not like that.
Because
Yeah.
also, by the way,
I also
people-
hated it.
people will say, well, Mike McCarthy was a great coach in Green Bay, but it was just Aaron Rodgers being stubborn, and then play into that Aaron Rodgers narrative that's been building up. as well.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Right. What games are we picking out? What 2 games are you excited about this week, and why?
The opener has to be one of them, hasn't it? Really?
No.
Doesn't have to be. You can if you want.
For me, it's the opener.
Yeah.
Because
It's a
one,
banger.
it's the start of the season, and 2, that was an absolutely unbelievable playoff game.
Yeah,
Granted,
so
we're not
fun.
going to see those teams in that sort of form, but we might do. So you expect a good high-scoring game. It'd be a very good advert for the game again. That's what I'm really looking for. I'm looking forward to watch that tomorrow on Game Pass when I wake up.
I'm looking forward to watching the Texans getting blown out by Kansas City tonight. It's foot on the neck. We're back. And F you.
Good night.
This Texans team it's lacking its biggest threat offensively.
They haven't taken a step, have they, this offseason? They haven't made any moves to make up for it.
Well,
Not
maybe
really.
maybe David Johnson or maybe be able to recreate something similar. No, whereas this Chiefs team is just powerful. I'm
And they
most
kept all their bits as well.
the best game without a doubt is taking place in the Superdome down in New Orleans.
Yes,
Oh,
that's one of mine.
Brady
What a banger.
Breeze,
Yeah, that's it.
Tampa, New Orleans. That is the battle for the NFC South.
Yeah,
Sorry, Dave,
yeah.
but right there.
No, that's fine.
That is
that's
a
fine. I agree.
huge game for the opening weekend. That
I
is
agree.
the standout one to me.
I agree with that as well.
I'm
Those
so
games.
excited about it. And we just don't know. We don't know if it's all going to come together. You get these super teams on paper, but can Arians make it work? Has Tom Brady got enough left in his arm to actually pass to this huge array of weapons that he's got around him? Is Gronk going to play much down there? Oh, I don't know. There's so many things, and we've just been talking about them all off season. And your boy Leonard Fournette's probably going to get some snaps as well. So it's
we're saying
third string.
that week 3, week 4, he's probably starting and going to be making a huge impact.
Yeah. And it's like Brady Breeze. It's just two of the greats.
Yeah, 2 over 40 quarterbacks dueling it out.
Yeah, that's the most miserable game for there not to be any fans in, because that's an amazing stadium.
Yeah,
because it's kind of still a bit old, and like it's a bit of a retro stadium compared to a lot of the other ones these days. But it's got that roof. It gets so noisy. You get people banging the metal grates at the back, and you can really hear it echoing around and stuff. Yeah, that's going to be super sad.
So my other one. Sorry, Ollie. I was going to be a homer and say Falcons Seahawks, but I think a better game for me, or more interesting game, because I'm excited about the Falcons anyway, even if they were playing Miami or something. Browns Ravens. Because I was one of the people who got really caught up last year in the Browns hype, and then had to wash my face halfway through the season when it didn't come
Ollie's
together.
going to do that Cowboys pick.
Hopefully. But I don't know. It feels like I'm still high on Baker Mayfield. I think that he can come back and have a good season, and I really want to see where the Browns are. Now, going into the Ravens' nest is not a place you want to start week 1, because the Ravens have only got stronger this offseason, and they are such a good organization that they managed to voluntarily let go their Pro Bowl safety, who's probably a Hall of Famer, and I think it's probably a good move, because they're like, you're unbalancing our team, you're a bad guy, we're a good enough team, this is how good we are, we can just let you go. And I think they're just the Calais Campbell move.
That was a big one.
The Ravens are legit. And
Derrick Henry made Earl Thomas a pushover, quite literally. So
he did, but he still had a good year, Earl Thomas, outside of that. But
Yeah.
he made him look like a little boy then. But I just think either way, I'm going to be happy watching that game, because either the Ravens just come out firing and they're just wicked to watch, and I'm going to enjoy that, or I'm going to see some progress with the Browns and I want to see them have a good year. So
that's fair.
That's a good one for me.
That's a really that's one. My other ones, it's a toss up between, kind of in a similar vein. I want to know what the 49ers have
and the Cardinals
done, and what the Cardinals have done in terms of, that's like an interesting marker for the rest of this year. And the other one is the Packers Vikings, because I want to see what Aaron Rodgers is coming into this season. Like, is he coming out like this is against division rivals, probably the battle for the top spot in the NFC North?
Undoubtedly, yeah.
Is Aaron Rodgers chip on the shoulder, or is Aaron Rodgers F you, I will do whatever? And do the Vikings have enough now to look like a team that can topple the Packers in that division? So yeah, I'm.
There's some really
It's a
good
coin
games,
flip.
guys. There's some really good games.
It's a
Good
fantastic weekend.
It's a great weekend of sport, actually.
Oh,
Return of the Premier
man.
League. There's England, Australia one day, ODIs. So
16,000 fans expected to be in 76,000 seater stadium Arrowhead
Whoop, whoop.
tonight. Miami is allowed 20% fans, or 13,000 according to Hard Rock Stadium. The Colts are going to allow 2,500 fans, which is
wow, generous.
less than I think they get at the Combine.
Is that just like family members and
Into Lucas
extended
Oil.
family members?
I have no idea. So
Seems pointless.
So the Browns are going to have a handful of fans in their first couple of games. Obviously, they're away this week at the Ravens. But you can get a $380 ticket to the Browns opener on Thursday Night Football against the Bengals, which I actually thought, considering tickets are so limited to like 20,000, isn't that bad. $380 to go and see, to go to an NFL game this year.
Watch the Battle of Ohio.
I don't know, how much are they normally?
I mean, it's more a case of like, it's quite a rare thing to be able to get. If tickets are limited to 20,000 and to get out and feel kind of normal, watching an NFL game right in front of you, it's not too bad. The Jags are going to have 16,791 apparently seats.
Precise.
25% of their stadium. The Dallas Cowboys have undisclosed how many they're going to have in their stadium, but the state of Texas is going to allow them 50% potentially, which is a huge
Classic Texas move, not giving a fuck.
Hey, Florida, you're going to have 25%, we're going to have 50.
We're going to do it right.
Ollie,
We're going
that
to do
was
it right.
great. Ollie, that was so good.
Yeah, Cleveland's possibly 6,000 or so for their first two games. And I really rate the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Florida, where Miami and Jacksonville are going to have fans. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have said for their first few games they're not going to have fans at all, which only shows that having a really old man like Tom Brady in the building does come at some sort of sacrifice, and that's having fans just in case of COVID.
Very good. Very good.
Oh, that's all. That's
Right.
all so good there.
Pick six.
So should we
Do
stop?
we do our
it?
bets?
Do you want to do the bets?
We've only got 5 minutes left, haven't we?
I tell you what,
That's
let's
enough.
quickly
Is that not enough time?
before we go to the bets, because there's the bets and then there's the divisional and Super Bowl and stuff like that.
Sorry. Okay. All right. So
But-
should we do that and then
Let's
we'll do the bets?
I'll quickly run through the Super Bowl predictions that I've got from some of the people that we've had on recently on the podcast.
Nice.
So this is one of the meets that we did in the summer a while back, or I only spoke to this guy. But Ollie Hunter, who's the producer for the NFL at Talk Sport, he thinks it's going to be a Packers against Chiefs Super Bowl. He's a Packers fan, by the way. Charles Walford, who is a journalist for The Times covering the NFL, thinks it's going to be a Ravens victory over the Dallas Cowboys. Richard Graves, NFL reporter for Sky Sports, says it's a Chiefs-Cowboys Super Bowl. Matthew Sherry, head of Gridiron Magazine, and just released a book as well, actually. It's meant to be good. It's 100 years of the NFL told in 20 games. Meant to be a really good read.
That sounds good.
He reckons it's good. He's a huge Patriots fan, and he's calling it a Bucs victory over the Ravens. Marlon Favorite has said it's going to be Chiefs against Saints,
Yeah.
or it's going to be Ravens against Dallas, but not the Ravens against the Saints or the Chiefs against Dallas.
Well, at least he's called it one way or the other.
I guess.
And Shane
We'll take his
Vereen,
first answer.
Shane Vereen, New England Patriots Super Bowl winner, has said he didn't give me a game for the Super Bowl, but he said the Chiefs are going to win it, although it's too early to tell. Which is something.
It's like saying, is the team's 14 points behind. They scored 2 touchdowns, they're level. Yeah, that's right.
So
Quite
big
shame.
thanks to those guys just for sending in the messages this afternoon with their predictions.
You just stay off that Don Julio. It's affecting the prediction ability.
I know.
Let's take a quick break. Come back with the divisional winners, championship games, Super Bowls, and then our bets for the week.
First ones.
All right.
Okay, let's start with the basics. 8 divisions, 8 victors.
8 winners.
Who takes each
Boom.
division?
Boom.
I know Dave is looking at them at the moment. So, Jazz, let's start with you. Let's start with the AFC North, where your Pittsburgh Steelers tend to hide.
I said this when we did our predictions for our seasons. I still think the Ravens will win the division, even
Fair
though
enough.
I think Lamar Jackson's not going to have a good season.
What about down in the dirty south of the AFC?
That, I think, is the Colts to lose.
The
Yeah.
East
East is the Pats.
and the West.
West is going to have to be the Chiefs, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Apparently
Nowhere
so.
else is going to go.
All right, take me across the NFC then, Jazz. Let's
So
start in the
NFC
North
North.
again.
I'd say we're looking at Packers. NFC
South?
East. South, you go
East-
south?
South,
I'm
yeah, North, South, East, West.
going Bucks.
The Bucks.
Ooh,
The
okay.
Yucks.
And then on the East, I'm going for your favorite team, Ollie. Not the Cowboys, for the record. The Eagles. And on the West is tough because any 4 of those could win it. But I'm
Yeah.
going to have to go based on strength of roster. It's going to have to be the 49ers.
Again.
Fair enough.
I agree with a lot of those.
All right, so give me your AFC North.
I'll go Ravens.
The South,
And in the South, I'm going Colts.
the East.
I'm going to go Bills.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
I'm going Bills.
Dave believes in
Wish
Josh
casting
Allen.
a bit. Kansas City, obviously, in the West. That's
The
a
North and the
no-brainer.
NFC.
I'm going Green Bay. I'm sorry to say to Vikings.
The South.
I'm not sorry to say because they've got Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Saints in the South all day, and then they lose in the playoffs, and they cry, and it's fun.
The East.
He's going to pick the
Cowboys. I'm so sorry.
Probably,
So sorry.
somebody's going to get Coach of the Year out of that division.
It doesn't mean the Eagles aren't going to make the
Probably Ron
playoffs.
Rivera for going 6-10. That's Coach of the Year stuff from him.
Yeah, for dealing with all of the stuff that he's going to have to deal with this year.
Absolutely.
as the football team head coach. And what about the West?
I think Seattle are going to win. But it's going to be so tight. It might be like it's not going to be they went 11-5 last year. I think they could go 11-5 again, and that might take the division because I think they might all like split. They might all beat each other. It's savage. Yeah.
I think we're all
What
on
you
a
saying,
similar.
Ollie?
We're all on a similar wavelength. I've got the AFC North with the Ravens, the South with the Colts, the East with the Pats, and the West with Kansas City.
Yeah.
And then the North and the NFC, I'm going Green Bay. The South, I'm going New Orleans. The East, I'm going Philadelphia.
Of course you are. That's the smart choice.
Flies in the face of earlier comments, but
I know.
I like that you're coming around to some positivity.
That's the heart
football's fun.
picking. That's the heart picking. And the West, I'm going with the 49ers, and I've scribbled out both the Seahawks and the Rams.
Nice.
Yeah, because I initially went with them. Okay. What about the championship games? AFC Championship.
Chiefs, Steelers. No. Sorry. Chiefs, Patriots.
Ooh, Chiefs Patriots.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh yeah. Well, you think Cam's going to be MVP, so they're going deep. I've got Chiefs. I've got the AFC Championship game that we thought we were going to have last year, and we kind of deserved. Chiefs Ravens.
I've got Chiefs Ravens.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we get it.
Chiefs
'cause it's,
I still think that conference, despite the Patriots, is a coin flip between those two.
Yep.
What about the NFC?
Oh, fucking who knows, man? Jesus.
49ers against the Bucks.
Okay. All right.
That's what I'm saying.
That'd be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, I like
Would
that.
be.
I've got I've got Seattle against Green Bay.
It's going to be a repeat of what we're going to see this Sunday. Week 1 to the championship game. The road to the NFC goes through the NFC South. It's the New Orleans Saints against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Once again, Brady v. Breeze in the shootout
Big.
to decide who goes to the Super Bowl.
Big.
And
Okay.
it's won by Drew Mother-loving Breeze.
And then he loses in the Super Bowl. Nice.
And they lose. They
Even
lose
more crushing. I like it.
I have actually got it
like
as they lose to the Baltimore Ravens in the
sweet.
Super Bowl.
Sweet.
Lamar Jackson, MVP, and the Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl champions.
Wow.
So I'd say Cam and the Patriots against Brady and the Bucks in Tampa Bay. That's literally
That's
master
so good.
versus apprentice. That's Darth Vader coming back to either.
Can you
beat or
imagine
everyone.
how like the media heads will be
That
losing
would
their
be
mind?
big. So I'm going with that. That's my that's my pick. And I pick
That's fun as hell, Jazz. I love
Brady
that.
to win his 7th.
Over Belichick. Oh, I'd love the cameras at that hug. You
Would
could
be
not
So
get
good.
anywhere near it.
So I'm saying that's what's going to be. And
I
Cam
like it.
having another time in the Super Bowl is going to go out crying.
I think you've had an absolute stormer on this podcast, Jess. I'm not
I've
gonna lie.
had some big ones.
You've gone
bold.
really big.
Yeah, they
But
could end up crashing
a
and
lot
burning
of-
within 4 weeks. But hey,
It's a
Worth a
lot of
shot.
fun.
You
I feel like
can't bet against the Patriots though. Like it's just I completely understand where you're coming with it.
if
Because
we had
we've
a
said
graph,
for years it's a situational quarterback thing.
Ollie's so besotted with that pick. He loves it so much.
We've said for years that anybody
Brady's
could
assistant
step into the
quarterback.
Patriots and do what Tom Brady does. And Cam Newton with a restructured shoulder is the perfect example of whether it's the case or not.
and not just that as well. Talking about back to Brady being a system quarterback, the Arian system is really friendly for quarterbacks. So he's gone from one very good offensive-minded and also great defensive-minded coach in Belichick to a very good offensive-minded coach in Arian. So it's not like he's gone from him to fucking Freddie Kitchens. He's going from a good coaching system to another good coaching system. So even if he does do really well, unfortunately for Brady, he still could have the label of system quarterback because he chose a quarterback-friendly coach to go to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it will shake it.
It's going to be his offense.
Oh, we'll shake
as
it, yeah,
well.
but still, it's still.
It'll Taylor Swift it, Jazz. It'll shake it off. It'll shake it off. It's all right. If Brady wins it with Tampa, it will shake off the Belichick.
Can I just say, Jazz, your like podcast for me kind of like started on a high because I was, excited to talk to you, and then went to a real low with Leonard Fournette chat.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of built like slowly up with all of your like mad, like fun,
Picks.
crazy predictions.
Yeah.
And now we're just kind of like, it's kind of like the price of gold over the last year. It's just going exponentially up as everything gets weirder. Everything's all uncertain. We don't know what's going on. Everybody's buying gold. Everybody's buying jazz.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah,
it.
wait till the bets though. As soon as Jazz said spread betting, the value of the Jazz is going to drop massively in my.
It's actually maybe
in
when
my
I
ears.
said gold, which has been around for like 2,000 years as a currency, I meant more like Bitcoin, where it's just
yeah,
like
it's a weird cryptocurrency that's
Well, like,
going to really go in and out.
It's gonna tank because there's no value.
Just put a bet on Bucks to win the NFC and the Pats to win the AFC. 65 to 1.
Fair.
Why not?
Mid podcast gambling. I like that.
Podcast
Jazz.
gambling.
That's
That's what
we
we're
do.
all about. That's
What we do.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So what?
Gambling and pancakes. That's what this podcast does.
What? Talking of gambling, then, what are your picks this week?
Who wants to go first?
All right, I'll fire out. I'll fire out straight
Ollie's
off
up
the bat.
first.
Let's go.
I'm a bit of an animal lover this week. I'm not gonna lie. So the Lions are gonna beat the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
Not true.
The Eagles are gonna beat the Washington football team.
I really hope so.
Definitely going to happen.
That's a problem if you don't.
There are some dirty birds down in Atlanta that are going to peck the eyes out of the Seattle Seahawks.
Ooh, okay.
Aaron chip on my shoulder Rodgers.
What the fuck was that, Dave?
I
is
don't know.
gonna-
It's like I'm like flying and I'm like clawing the air.
It was like the Ultimate Warrior had a little bit of an incident. Sorry, Ollie.
Aaron chip on his shoulder Rodgers is going to go into Minnesota and get a game win. Teddy Bridgewater is going to get a victory in his first game as a starter for the Carolina Panthers.
Oh,
Okay.
And then Tom Brady
know about that.
is going to go into the Superdome with Bruce Arians, Leonard Fournette, Chris Godwin, and of course, Mike motherfucking Evans.
injured,
and tear
so
that
whatever.
place down. And that's so Lions, Eagles, Falcons, Packers, Panthers, and Tampa Bay.
What have you
giving
got on
me
that?
68-1.
Decent.
Pretty good.
I think I assume it's the Panthers that's really bucked you up there, is it? Because that's unlikely to me.
Packers aren't favorites.
Packers aren't favourites.
Tampa Bay aren't favorites either, and the
But
Falcons.
they're probably
Falcons aren't favourites either.
small underdogs, I would have thought. Panthers have got one of the worst teams, I would say, this year. I'd be impressed if they win 4 games this year.
Vegas Raiders, though, I don't trust the Raiders.
You're not buying in, yeah, fair
I'm
enough.
not buying in yet.
I don't trust them either.
Especially as they don't want their starting quarterback. So
That's fair. Okay, I'll go. I am also looking at those Lions.
that's
And I'm
like the safe.
And I
bet.
like what I'm looking. I like where I'm looking because I don't care about the Bears. I'm not interested in them. So let's put them to sleep. Hibernating Bears reference. Atlanta Falcons. I've got beating the Seahawks because, I'm a homer and that's what I do. And then Colts to beat the Jags, which is a really safe one. I've got Browns to beat the Ravens, which I know.
That
know.
is punchy.
I've got to. You got to put a
That's
twist on
punchy
these
one
things.
that you had, didn't it? Was there?
You got to have one. You got to have one. And I want to believe in these Browns. And if you're gonna beat the Ravens, maybe week 1 is the time to do it. I don't know. And then I've got Buffalo Bills beating the Jets. That's pretty safe. I can't imagine the Jets are going to do much this year. And then I've got the Steelers beating the Giants. And that
Fair
gets
enough.
me a more conservative 39-1.
Okay.
That Browns one is so bold. Though.
I mean, it's not as bold as
Dicey.
when he picked the Cardinals to beat the 49ers.
Yeah,
In that bet that never saw the day.
I checked
light
out
of
of
day.
that. I checked out of
I
that.
think that was the right move.
Yeah.
So I've obviously, because I like to use the spread, I've got a bit of spread betting in here too, to try and increase my odds a little bit. So I do believe in the black and silver and the black hole and the place where people's dreams come to die. Although it's not actually at that stadium, is it? It's actually Carolina. Anyway, so I'm picking the Raiders with a -3 spread.
That
I'm picking the
Bitcoin's
Eagles
going
to beat the Washington football team.
Jesus, I invested all this money in
Oh,
jazz
no!
currency.
I invested in so much jazz
Came
coins.
down. Came down. So if Raiders -3 against the Panthers. I've gone the Eagles -6 against Washington football team. I don't think the Lions are very good. I think the Bears are going to beat the Lions. So the Bears are my pick. Much like Ollie, I do believe the Packers now, Rodgers are going to go in and just torch. Well, not torch. Maybe torch. Kirk Cousins and his ineptitude. I've got the Colts beating the Jags at -8 because they're going to probably run the score up on them.
Yep.
And I've also went Falcons, but I went +2 on the spread because I think they might do it, but if they don't do it, it's going to be very tight.
+2, sorry, explain to me.
So if the Falcons lose by 3 points, I lose. If the Falcons, if it's 2018, I still win. No,
Okay.
that's a push. Sorry, it's a push. That's
Yeah.
a push. If it's 1 point. If they lose
Yeah.
by 1 point, I win.
We tend to have really, really good games with Seattle, and they tend to be very, very close. So
That's the thing.
Seattle seem to play down to their opponents a little bit, which obviously is a bit insulting to the Falcons, but it's kind of true. So I think that, yeah, it's going to be a really close game. I think the Falcons will win just because they're at home, but we'll see.
But the thing is, home field advantage doesn't mean as much this year. That's the thing. That's why I don't think the Bears going to Detroit is much of an issue. If it's at Detroit with fans there, I may have had a different feeling. But that's my pick of the bunch. I got that for 73-1.
Oh,
Lovely.
I
just
suppose
using the spread.
the Falcons are, 2 points. That is a slim margin, isn't it? Even though I know it's going to be a tight game.
It's basically just picking the Falcons to win, almost, isn't it?
Or just, yeah.
Yeah. So
it means if the Falcons win, I still win.
So all of our bets rely pretty much on the Falcons to win, aside from Jazz's 2 points.
It's
like,
not a place
no
you
pressure.
want to be, is it?
Why are we all riding that one? Because they are not a pressure team.
I also try to keep all my bets in the 6 o'clock window. So by the time of 9 o'clock on Sunday, I will know if I've won or not.
Yeah.
Because when I had the one that won last year, when it was going into the Packers Vikings, it was cash out for, I think it was like 120 quid, or keep winning, trying to win it for 230. It was tempting to press the cash out button because I was like, I'm starting to think about it. I rode it and won it, but it'd be nice just to have it so I haven't got a choice. It's just there.
You're so right, Jazz, and I regret now for that reason putting the Steelers in, because all the other ones are 6 o'clock games, and then I have to wait till Tuesday.
Yeah, you got to wait a long time.
Oh,
But it's
yeah,
Monday Night Football. It's Monday Night Football.
Yeah, so that's a bit
horrible.
annoying. But and it would be pretty savage if I win all the others and then the Steelers somehow lose against the Giants, and I have to also wait 2 days for them to lose to the Giants. So,
there will be so much agony.
Yeah. Otherwise, I would have probably picked them as well.
Big thanks to Dave and Jazz, as always, for getting their picks in. Big thanks to you for listening. You can like, follow, subscribe us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, TuneIn Radio app, Anchor.fm, our host, and all other good podcasting outlets. Spotify as well. You can follow us on Twitter at ReturnThePicks and on Instagram at ReturnThePicks. And you can follow us individually. O_J_Wilson is myself on Twitter and Instagram. David Bluck1 and David Bluck are Dave's on Twitter and Instagram. And Jazz is at Jazz Gillum on both Twitter and Instagram. Until next time, thanks for watching.